Do you think your resume is good enough to impress the hiring manager? Will it help you in bagging your dream job? Now that might be quite a task. Not to worry, we have you covered with the best resume tips. Hey everyone, welcome to this live session on resume building and cover letter. In this session, we will guide you on how to build your resume from scratch. We will acquaint you with the do's and don'ts to keep in mind while crafting your resume. Additionally, we will also help you understand the importance of a cover letter and how to go about it. Let's wait for a bit as people join in. Before we proceed, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to never miss an update from Simplilearn. Let's get started and understand what exactly a resume is and the importance of it in a professional's life. Resumes are the first point of contact with recruiters. A resume is a document that highlights your career goals, educational qualifications, technical and non-technical skills, achievements, co-curricular activities, and interest areas. Only if your resume is impressive will you make it to the interview rounds. Resumes speak volumes about you to the hiring panel. Hence, it is of utmost importance that you package your resume well to get shortlisted by HRs. Remember, you barely have 6 to 7 seconds to create a positive impression with your resume. Resumes are crucial for both freshers and experienced professionals. Employers use resumes throughout a hiring process to understand more about the applicants and to evaluate if they might be a good fit or not. Your resume should be easy to read and should briefly state your accomplishments and skills. There are several points to keep in mind while building a resume, and here we will give you the 10 most important tips for the same. Maybe you have finished writing your resume or you're just starting. These tips will surely help you either way. Our first tip to you is to pick the right type of resume. There are different types of resumes like a chronological resume. This type of a resume focuses primarily on your work history. Then we have a functional resume that is designed to focus on your relevant skills rather than your work history. Combination resume, as the name suggests, mixes elements of the chronological and functional resume formats. On the other hand, a targeted resume is one that specifically addresses the needs of each company you apply to. Such a resume can be made as either a functional chronological resume or a combination resume. However, the area of focus here is to target the detailing to the job role you are applying for. In most cases, the right type of resume depends on your work experience. Most candidates who are freshers use the functional resume format instead of the more commonly used chronological resume. So first and foremost, you need to pick the right type of resume before filling in the resume details. In this live session, we will be focusing on how to build a resume for freshers. If you are a fresher, you can go with a functional resume. Shown alongside is the resume we are going to build. This resume for freshers is going to be focusing on your skills, achievements, and educational details. We will have a look at how we build this resume from scratch in the next couple of minutes. After having decided the format and type of resume you are going to be focusing on, our next tip to you is to have a blueprint of it. It is wise to pre-plan and organize the resume content. This way you will better understand what needs to be in the resume and what can be excluded. Just like how blueprints help you in your projects, so do they for your resume. A blueprint allows you to envisage the bigger picture. This way you can ensure you are adding every point in your resume. Having a blueprint guides you throughout the process of resume building. It enables you to visualize the overall resume. A few points to keep in mind while formulating a blueprint of a fresher's resume is to clearly highlight your skills and achievements. The next tip is to include only the sections that you need. For instance, if you're following a resume template, you can think and remove any section that you don't require. Freshers needn't include a work history section and instead fill it with project details, skills, and academic achievements. Having a blueprint will help you decide what content has to go on the resume and what can be omitted. Once the blueprint is ready, our third tip is to start building your resume with a good headline. A resume title or headline is a catchy statement that speaks volumes of you and highlights your attributes. It is imperative that you have an impressive, short, and powerful headline. Resume headlines give an overview of your background to the recruiters. Hence, craft a good 2 to 3 liner summary about your career goals and qualifications. You could also add some relevant keywords from the job description to capture the recruiter's attention. This will help you stand out from the rest of the candidates. A resume headline is a brief statement that summarizes the value you bring to the job. Most recruiters do not have time to read your entire resume, so an impressive headline can get you noticed faster. Craft your headline well enough to make the recruiter want to read your resume further. Remember, you just have a few seconds to impress the recruiter with your catchy headline. As a fresher, your resume headline should focus on your attributes that can contribute to the job you are applying for and the company. As shown alongside, your resume headline is located right at the top of your resume below your name. This makes it the first thing to be noticed. Here, for example, we are giving the headline as "An engineer seeking challenges in data analytics to help companies with data-driven decisions. Interested in solving real-life problems using cutting-edge technologies." This clearly displays the qualification of the candidate along with her career interest. You could tailor the headline to meet your interest, and you could also add a few keywords from the JD. The next tip to keep in mind before proceeding to the body of your resume is to make sure to add your contact information. This might be an obvious step, however, missing this will be a huge loss. Your contact information will be used by recruiters to contact you. Here, you can incorporate information like your name, phone number, and email ID. You can also add your address. Resumes can also have your professional profiles for better credibility. You could add your LinkedIn profile link and GitHub link. Now, with many interviews happening online, you can also mention your Skype ID. Make sure that every detail you give is right and it must look professional. Shown alongside, we have given details like email ID, phone number, place of residence, LinkedIn profile link, and GitHub profile links. Since the name is already on the resume, it needn't be added again. Make sure to always add your full name on your resume, and it is also great if you could have a professional image of yourself on the topmost corner of your resume. Moving to contact details, having your address generally helps if you're looking for a job within a particular distance from your home. You could also elaborate on the address. The next tip to keep in mind is to have a professional-looking email address on your resume. It is always advised that you have your personal phone number on the resume to keep the job search confidential. As shown alongside, always place your contact information on top so that it can be easily noticed by the recruiters, and make sure that you align them well. Moving on to filling in the body of your resume, our next tip is to highlight your educational details. Like mentioned previously, this resume that we are building is for freshers. Hence, the first part of our resume can be the educational qualifications. Education is one of the main areas employers look for on your resume. It is another way for an employer to comprehend if you are the right fit for the role. If your education aligns with the posted job role, it can be a huge advantage. So how to go about feeding your educational details and what are the details you need to have? Let's look at that now. This section of educational qualification should have the name of your most recent degree, name of your university, and location if possible. Following which you must mention the dates attended and your graduation date or expected graduation date if you're still studying. The next part should be your scores in CGPA or percentage. Better the scores, the better your resume looks. You could also add any academic honors or relevant coursework or study abroad programs. If you have 2 degrees, always start with your highest degree first. As shown alongside, you can have the name of the degree, below which you can have the university name, start and end date of the course, and finally the CGPA. Similarly, we have another section of the school details below the college details. It is good to show your school details as well. You can follow the same drill for this too. If you wish, you can have another section below this for additional educational details and mention the certifications you possess and any presented papers. We have shown that in a separate section of this resume. We shall look at it in our further slides. The next section is one of the most important areas of a resume. This is your skills section. Remember to highlight your skills in a way that recruiters find them relevant to the job role you are applying for. You could choose a set of hard skills and soft skills that you possess, and additionally, you could sprinkle a few skills that are mentioned in the job description. Skills can be your natural talents or the job expertise you have developed over time. Your skills should make the employers feel that you have the required abilities to succeed in the respective job role. Skills can often be the deciding factor when it comes to proceeding with your candidature. You can mention hard skills. They're basically technical skills that revolve around your job profile. On the other hand, soft skills may be referred to as social or people skills. These skills like communication, adaptability, problem solving, and leadership, to name a few, are soft skills. As shown alongside in this sample resume for freshers, we have mentioned a few technical skills. While listing your skills, it is wise to use a two-column format that names the skills and your level of experience with the skill. Here, we have taken skills that are primarily relevant in the data analytics sector. You could change these skills depending on the profile you are applying for. As you can see, not only are you just mentioning the skill, but you're also evaluating your expertise in it. If all the 5 boxes are colored, it shows you're proficient in it and vice versa. This is a good way to showcase your skills, and it becomes easier for the recruiters to identify how good you are in the listed skills. Our advice to you is to have the relevant skills for the job you are applying for. Stay updated with the growing technology and make sure your most recent skills are reflected on your resume. Here we have chosen skills like Python, R, machine learning, data visualization, Tableau, and SQL. The next section is another important section on the fresher's resume. As you are a fresher, you might be wondering how to convince the recruiters of your skills and expertise. The best way to do so is by adding your project details and internship experience, if any. Since you have no work experience, these details can prove that you are fit to start your career. In the previous section, we saw how important it is to list your skills, and in this section, you should be able to highlight hands-on cases of how you have applied your skills and capabilities to find a solution. You can first mention the name of the project, following which you could mention the duration for the same, and then list out a few vital points as to what you did. Make sure to keep the content short and crisp. Depending on how you have carried out the project, your leadership qualities can also be gauged by the hiring manager. Remember to list relevant projects to the job role you are applying for. As seen alongside, under the project section, we have 3 projects. They are Twitter sentiment analysis, face recognition, and Uber data analysis. You can notice the duration given below each of these projects, following which we have just a few sentences on what our role was in the project. These project details mentioned on this sample resume can be of great value when it comes to the field of data analytics. Similarly, it is advised that you add relevant project details pertaining to your field of interest. In addition to this, you could also consider adding a link to your online portfolio if it has additional details of your project. By doing so, they will be able to see the projects you have worked on and how suitable your candidature is. Here, you can also add few details of your internship if you have any. Remember, having internship details on your resume is definitely a plus point, and it counts as a good experience. The next section on our resume is extracurricular activities. It is imperative that you include extracurricular activities on your resume, especially for freshers, as you lack work experience. This is where you realize how important it is to be active in school and college activities. So if you are one of those active students, then go ahead and showcase your skills to prove your capabilities. Under this section, you can add any activity that comes outside the scope of your college or school curriculum. In this sample resume, we have divided the sections of extracurricular activities for better clarity, and since this is a fresher's resume, we have done so. The first thing you can have under this section is any kind of participation in webinars, workshops, clubs, etc. As you see on the screen, first, here we have participation in webinars and workshops related to data science and machine learning. Then we are listing the role of the candidate as a part of the sponsorship committee for tech events and cultural fests. Finally, we are talking about a non-technical activity, that is the formation of a plantation club to create awareness among people on environmental issues. So as you see, we have 3 different kinds of activities here. Similarly, you could go on and add any kind of activity like part of the student government, any college clubs, volunteer work, and study abroad experience, to name a few. Now the next section we have is for achievements. This section can be used by not just experienced professionals but also by freshers. Here you could add any competitions you have won in your student life or any other sort of recognition you have been awarded with. You can also add any scholarships if you have received. It is great to mention these details on your resume as it will make your candidature look good on the whole. Make sure to list only those details that are true. As you can see, here we have mentioned securing 5th rank in a hackathon on Python programming and then achieving a certificate of recognition for successfully organizing a startup summit in college. So both these are achievements of the candidate and for which she has been duly recognized. There is absolutely no harm in displaying your awards and recognitions on your resume. Next section on our resume is for your certifications. So if you're looking to add your certifications on your resume, this section can be well utilized. However, if your certification is job critical, you could add them on top of your resume as a part of your headline as well. In other cases, you can add it under this section. So why is it important to have a certification? Well, because it proves that you have specific expertise and because it is issued by an authorized organization. Many jobs require you to hold certain certifications, and sometimes more than one certificate. And if you are working in sectors like accounting or finance, they definitely require licenses and certifications. So the types of certificates vary across sectors. A professional certification provides evidence of your skills and is proof that you have the required work competence. Certifications can certainly boost your resume and help you stand apart from the rest. Your first duty is to put the relevant certifications which align with the job description. This will help the recruiter notice your resume quickly. Certifications are often used as a resume filter by employers to narrow the pool of applicants. For example, an IT security professional could have relevant networking certificates to make his profile look more appealing. Particularly if you're an entry-level candidate or a student, listing relevant and in-demand certificates will make your resume stand out. At times, recommended certificates can be found in the job description as well. As shown alongside, here we have the candidate listing the completion of the postgraduate program in data analytics offered by Simplilearn. The candidate is also a certified data analyst professional from IBM. She holds a certification from Google for completing crash course on Python, and she finally is also certified in business analytics with Excel course that is offered by Simplilearn. Reading these points will definitely leave a lasting impression on the hiring manager, and it will make you look more driven and committed to your field of study. You need to regularly stay updated with the ever-evolving technology in order to bag your dream job. On that note, y'all can check out the Simplilearn website to upskill yourself and choose any certification from the many options we have. Having a certification will help you develop skills for your career growth. Simplilearn provides a cutting-edge curriculum designed in guidance with industry to develop job-ready skills, and the best part about these certifications being that you can learn by working on real-world problems. Here, you will have projects involving real-world data sets with virtual labs for hands-on learning. So what are you waiting for? Get certified with Simplilearn and upskill yourself. Next section on our list is about languages. This section can be very impressive if it is utilized well. So you might speak a second language, but you're unsure if it needs to be added on your resume. Well, it definitely should go on your resume. The more languages, the better your candidature will look. Knowing a second language also displays cultural knowledge. You can flaunt your language skills to your advantage here. Being proficient in multiple languages can open a range of opportunities in your professional life. Listing your language skills can surely make your resume more noticeable. Communication is a critical part of any job, and recruiters often look for language skills as they show your capability to communicate with a diverse range of people. The language skills on your resume could include any other languages in which you have intermediate, advanced, proficient, or native comprehension abilities. If a particular language can be beneficial for the job role you're applying for, then you need to have that language on your resume, as it may be a nice benefit for the employer as well. If you know a foreign language, it is great, as you can use your expertise to communicate well with international partners without going through an interpreter or a translator. As you can see alongside here, we have two languages, English and French. It says English full professional proficiency and French limited working proficiency. It is good to have your level of proficiency mentioned beside the language, as it will help the recruiter understand how good you are in that particular language. So before mentioning languages on your resume, you must review your speaking, reading, and listening comprehension of the language, and then add your proficiency level. If you know other regional languages, feel free to add those as well under this section. Language skills can surely help you grow your professional network and provide you ample job opportunities and help you display your soft skills. The next section we have is for your hobbies and interests. Some of you might be unsure whether you should include these on your resumes. Well, you definitely can. It is best if you add hobbies and interests that have some form of relevance to the job you are interested in, and let the hiring manager know you are a good fit for the job. You could also do so by tailoring your interests and by providing a variety of hobbies. For example, if you notice that the job you're applying for wants outgoing candidates who are good team players, then you need to tailor your list of hobbies around this. This way, you can make use of this section to your advantage. Be sure to include your hobbies and interests towards the end of your resume. Keep this section short and do frame your interests creatively. As seen, we have a few interests here like reading, traveling, cooking, and gardening on our resume. You could also add your hobbies and interests accordingly. The next tip to you is to be honest while crafting your resume. Ensure you don't add any false information, as it will leave a bad mark on your profile forever. You think honesty might not be the best policy in this case, but it very well is still the best policy even when it comes to building your resume. Recruiters can easily understand if you're exaggerating and if your resume looks to be more of a fiction than fact. For example, you cannot lie that you have passed out from an Ivy League university when the reality is totally different. Keep in mind that your educational background will be checked by the recruiters. Similarly, you cannot say you're proficient in everything, as employers very well realize how much people exaggerate their skill set. In such cases, you will be caught when asked to demonstrate your skill set. Also, keep in mind that your job titles shouldn't look too good to be true. Another most common mistake is trying to cover a career gap in the wrong way, and you will be caught if the recruiter does a thorough background check. If you are worried about a resume gap, fill it with any sort of consulting or volunteering work and not with false information. Finally, our last tip to you is to proofread your resume. Nothing can be worse than having typos or grammatical errors on your resume. Check for spelling mistakes and sentence structure. Having such errors will leave a bad impression on the recruiter, and you might seem careless. In addition to this, make sure your resume is well formatted and you use the same font type throughout your resume. Sometimes employers can be quite picky when it comes to hiring. Hence, the smallest typo on your cover letter or resume might prevent you from getting the job. Proofreading ensures that your document is free of errors and polished well. Without proofreading, our work has a higher chance of containing errors. Ask your family member or a friend to proofread your resume as a favor, as having another person evaluating your resume will be more beneficial. After incorporating all the about 10 tips that we have discussed, remember to share only the PDF version of your resume with the recruiters. Now let's have a look at the final version of our sample resume that we have been building. As you can see, this is the first part of our resume. As mentioned previously, here we have the name along with the photo, resume headline, contact information, educational qualifications, and skills along with its ratings. In our next part, we have the projects, extracurricular activities, achievements, certifications, languages, and interests. Make sure you align the resume well and it looks neat and readable. Stick to the same kind of formatting throughout the resume. This is how the resume will look on the whole. For freshers, it is advised that you keep your resume within 2 pages and not more than that. A simple, short, and crisp resume will do the job. If you want a copy of this detailed resume that can help you grab your dream job, please share your email in the comment section below and we will send it over to you. Now that you have seen a handful resume tips and you have learned how to write a resume, let's go ahead and understand how to write a cover letter. Remember, a sparkling resume paired with a messy cover letter is definitely a red flag. Hence, it is imperative that you know how to write a good cover letter. You might have noticed that sometimes some companies also require you to send a cover letter along with your resume to explain why you are a good fit for the respective job. In those cases, it is needed that you know what exactly goes into a cover letter. Sometimes a cover letter may be optional, however, it's usually a good idea to include one in any application you submit. A cover letter is a one-page message sent with your job application that provides information about the job role you are applying for, your qualifications, your work experience if any, and you can also say why you are interested in working for that particular company. A very well-written cover letter will help you stand out. Cover letters give you the opportunity to demonstrate that you are a great fit for the job you are applying for. A good cover letter can spark the recruiter's interest in reading your resume. On the other hand, a bad one might just mean that your application won't be considered. So let's ensure that this doesn't happen and learn how to write a cover letter. A cover letter's purpose is to introduce you and briefly summarize your educational and professional background. Your cover letter typically should be from 250 to 400 words long. It is important to remember that a cover letter is a supplement to your resume and definitely not a replacement for it. Having said that, you cannot repeat whatever is already mentioned on your resume. All you have to do is keep the cover letter format in mind. As you can see, we first start the cover letter with a header with your contact information. This will include your full name on top. Below that, you will have your email address, your phone number, and your postal address. In certain cases, you can also replace your address with your professional work links and personal website if you have one. After this, you need to input the date. Following this, you need to mention the name of the hiring manager, their professional title, name of the company you are applying to, company address, and the company mail ID. Next, you need to start writing the cover letter content, and the first thing to do is to address the cover letter to the hiring manager. You could find out who your hiring manager is and address the letter to him or her. If you are unable to find out, you can mention "Dear hiring manager" or to whomsoever it may concern. Now, moving to the body of your letter, you need to grab the reader's attention with a few of your achievements and explain why you're the perfect candidate for that job. In this case, since this cover letter is for a fresher, you'll have limited information to fill in. Hence, we have kept it short and simple and started by explaining where the candidate found the job advertisement and which post he or she is interested in applying for. This makes it clear to the recruiter as to for which post your profile should be considered. In the next para, we have mentioned the name of the degree the candidate holds, and you should also mention your university name. In addition to this, you can also mention any particular achievement or skills that you have, which will be an asset for the job you are applying for. In the case of experienced professionals, you can fill this section with a few relevant, notable achievements from your work history. After this, we are going to have a statement which speaks about your attached resume for the recruiter's consideration. You can also mention that you can be contacted if you need to provide more details. You can then have a formal closing statement and thank the hiring manager for taking time to consider your application. You can end it with a formal conclusion and you are good to go. That was an example of a short and crisp cover letter for refresher. Before sending the cover letter, make sure to proofread it just like you would for your resume. Being an excellent candidate with perfect set of skills won't help if you cannot put them across through your resume or cover letter. Therefore, it is a must that you craft your resume well and follow our tips to help you land your dream job. So that brings us to the end of this session on resume building and cover letter. I hope the session was informative and interesting. Good luck to all you job seekers out there. Thank you for watching this video and stay tuned for more from Simplilearn.